The events of 6th and 7th happened in front of television cameras of at least 23 television channels.
The number is in dispute, but the government says 15 people died in the fighting. And before the night was out, 2 television channels covering the story, Digonto TV and Islamic TV, were taken off the air.
And Digonto and Islamic TV broadcast live some parts of the rally, and it also ran quite extended coverage of these clashes. And we know that at night, at about 2 a.m. in the dead of night, there was a police operation to clear this central banking district of these Islamist activists. And at that time, media was ordered out of the area for a period of about 45 minutes to an hour. Digonto TV did broadcast images from there, and it said that there were casualties, that at least 24 people had died.
The government felt that Digonto was actually inciting people, and they were inciting the people to stay and continue the sitting. And they thought that this is going beyond their remit as a broadcaster, and they said that their guidelines specifically prohibit them from broadcasting anything that incite crowd violence or incite activities which are not seen to be in favor of public order, stability.
The whole event is recorded on television, on people's mobiles, so everybody knows what has happened.
They were sleeping at 2:30 a.m. in the morning. Security services moved in. They shut down the electricity. They told the press not to be present. Any opposition press was completely shut down. Press was given clear instructions. In fact, some of the press are now saying through the social media that their cameramen were beaten up, their equipments were confiscated because they have evidence of people whose dead bodies were being carried in truckloads. So what we're talking about is a massacre that took place by the order of the government, by the current Prime Minister Hasina. And that is very alarming for us in Britain especially, for we support democracy in Bangladesh. We'd like to see human rights, regulations and rights upheld. We would like to see Bangladesh progress. Unfortunately, under the current government, what we have seen is nepotism, corruption, as well as institutional destruction is happening at a gross level.
Okay, very serious accusations, no doubt. H.T. Imam is an advisor to the Prime Minister, Sheikh Hasina. How do you respond? How do you defend against these accusations?
The Hifazat-e-Islam, they submitted their 13-point demand, and they said instantly that all their demands will have to be accepted. No government would do that. We are good Muslims
can you answer, Can you answer one simple question, sir? And that is, why did you shut down electricity in Dhaka city on the 2 days ago? And why did you allow your security forces to kill? And why did you not allow any press to be present? Where are the bodies that have been killed? Why have they been completely
wrong.
Removed? And we don't know where they are. Where are those bodies?
I insist that this is totally wrong. I insist you are totally wrong. You are misinformed. If you look back to the
why did you not allow press to be present if it's wrong? Why did you tell all the international media not to be present? Why did you destroy the camera as well as beat up reporters who were reporting on the ground?
And why
We've got evidence to show that government orders were given to execute those people on site, and their bodies were taken by trucks.
Mr. Masroor, can we allow Mr. Imam a quick response and then move on to a few other issues?
Yes. And this is what I just wanted to say, that the police went on operation when the Islam people, they started attacking the other people. They in fact attacked the National Museum and the National Mosque, Baitul Mukarram, and there were some elements from the Hifazat-e-Islam who even burnt copies of the Holy Quran. And they looted even shops, jewelry shops in that area. They burned vehicles, hundreds of them. When they went on the rampage, the police, what could the police and the government do? Could the government allow them to take over Dhaka city? Would any government do it?
Well, no doubt the government
and the police.
Mr. H.T. Imam, no doubt the government is coming under increasing pressure because of the demands being made by groups like Hifazat-e-Islam.
But some of those television pictures that have been seen show more than 11 people being killed.
Well, I don't think that it shows more than 11 people killed during that incident, but there were separate incidents elsewhere where there were some more casualties, but during that incident there were 11 people who were killed. But also there were footage that shows that there were people who were lying down as if they were dead bodies, and when the police nudged them, they got up and walked away.
But this is clearly a contentious matter, and there are people who dispute your government figures. Why not have an independent inquiry now?
Well, it can definitely, whatever happens, there can always be an inquiry, there can always be investigations.
So why doesn't your government launch one now?
Well, because the government or the most of the people in the country don't even think that there was any controversy with the matter.
Volleys of gunfire echo across the city as police take on thousands of protesters in the early hours of the 6th of May. When it was over, police said they'd recovered 11 bodies, including one of their own. But Human Rights Watch says its independent sources suggest the number of people killed was at least 50. The answer over disputed figures may lie here. This is Dhaka's state-run cemetery where they bury unclaimed bodies. Abdul Jalil digs the graves. He's deaf and unable to speak, but determined to tell his story. He tells Al Jazeera he buried 14 bodies after the protest on May 6th, all at night. He points to his chin. They were all bearded men, he indicates, and they all had gunshot wounds. This previously unseen footage shows the chaos of gunfire and smoke on the 6th of May. Protesters clamber over walls to escape. On the steps of this building, those who could not get away. The injured lie among the dead. It's not always clear who's alive among the bodies. Protesters stream out to give themselves up. On the ground, there appear to be more bodies. Hundreds went into police custody like a surrendering army early that morning. Stragglers were rounded up, their ordeal clear on their faces. But Hifazat-e-Islam says many of the protesters are still unaccounted for.
The government is worried about the security situation, and now they started closing down media centers and websites linked to the radical Muslims. But limiting the freedom of speech is never a solution.